Future Past.
Days of Future Past.
Yeah, hey, look at that.
Hey! Also, Road Cut.
Yes,
Hey!
which I have yet to see since.
Hey!
But after you told me about it, I was like, you know what, I'm good. I don't need to rewatch the movie because I just watched it. So.
Yeah. Well, that's what I say. You don't have to rewatch it. I just fast forward. Even if you go to the scene selections, it probably shows you where it kicks
Yeah,
off.
well, more than likely.
Yeah. But Days of Future Past. Bryan Singer's return to the franchise.
Yep, you could tell. You could
Yeah.
tell. Not to say that Matthew Vaughn is not a capable director, but Singer's got his own style.
Yeah.
And it's a style that surprisingly works really well with the X-Men universe.
Mm-hmm.
But I think part of it is because, like he had made his name with Usual Suspects, and then what did he do in between? Apt Pupil. That's right.
And I think that was it.
Yeah, it was Apt Pupil, and that got a lot of rave reviews. Plus, he worked with Ian McKellen.
Yep.
And then from there, it was the X-Men movies. But he does have his own distinct style. Like, even so, like when I was watching Valkyrie, and I was like, you know, if I didn't know it was a Bryan Singer movie, but I was familiar with his work, I would go, yeah, it's Bryan Singer. You can tell. But anyway, so he comes back. Couple of things that I have to rejigger for my dislikes.
Rejigger away.
Yeah, for one of my dislikes was Frost is never mentioned again. She is, but not overtly.
No, if you look away during that scene.
Yeah, like, it's one of those, like, it's on scene of deceased mutants.
Yeah, Mystique pretends that she is Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
Goes into his office.
Trask.
Goes into his office, pulls out the file, like, all deceased.
Yeah. Deceased mutants
that he was testing on
that they're using to
and that's when we find out that
sentinels.
Emma's dead.
Yeah.
What's his name? Azazel's dead.
Yeah.
Angel's dead.
Yep.
Banshee's dead.
Yeah.
He tested on all 4 of those.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, while I was gonna say, like, I didn't say this in the first class stuff, I liked that at the end of first class, Emma joins up with
Magneto. Yeah.
But that was great. I was like, okay, all right, because essentially she's attaching herself to strong mutants.
Mm-hmm.
So she attached herself to Shaw because he's a strong mutant. He gets killed by Magneto, so she goes, oh, okay. And then, of course, because Magneto is all about the mutants shall inherit the Earth, fuck everyone else, which is a character trait that they don't do enough of with this trilogy. Which is another reason why, like, tying into it doesn't always work, especially, like, up until this point. After this, with the other 2 movies, it's a different timeline, so okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm okay, like, it's a little bit more acceptable in that sense, especially because after we've already done this. So you kind of changed my mind a bit here. So I agree, yeah, there's aspects where I can go, okay, all right. But up until this point, because this is explicitly stated, 2 things. One, part of this character ends up being Ian McKellen, and the other part is the new version.
Yeah. The
stuff that's supposed to lead into Ian McKellen, especially because of this here, he would be more of a, no, we're mutants.
Yeah.
We are Homo sapiens, Homo superior. For a reason, I don't give a fuck, right? But so it would make sense that Frost would be like, yep, I'm with you. Mm-hmm. It just sucks that it's one of those, like, and this, I guess, lends credence to us thinking that January Jones never wanted to do this movie in the first place, because she doesn't even get, like, an actual death scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
She gets oh no, she's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, did you blink and you missed that?
She's gone.
Well,
gone.
Just so you know, she's dead.
It's unfortunate they killed Banshee, though, because I really liked him in first
class.
class.
I agree, especially because he's a long-tenured character that took a long time for him to get killed off, and then I think they brought him back again, but...
Most likely.
Still, it was just one of those... Plus, I liked his visual. Like, when Jim Lee drew him, and, like, he was... he's like Jim Lee character, so he's, 6'4", 220 pounds of muscle, but he just looked cool with his, green and yellow outfit for some reason. Colors that don't normally work for a hero, but,
He rocked them.
Yeah. Plus, they always wrote him with an Irish accent.
Yeah.
So even if you didn't know he was Irish, you would know that he's not English, like American, because of the way they wrote him. But you'd catch things like Me Boyo, and you're like, I think he might be Irish.
They didn't touch on that, right? He was very American in that.
Well, then again, Emma Frost was very American. She was not British.
So was Moira McTaggart.
And yeah, she wasn't even Scottish.
No.
Or I think she's Scottish.
She's Scottish.
And they don't do that with her. They don't even give her a British accent, which I think is what her normal tongue is.
Yeah.
You know, so it's aspects like that where I kind of go, because it.
But again, that's only stuff that's really going to bug the comic fans, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, that's an easy way to include a ton of people.
Yep.
You know, instead of basically saying that for the most part, aside from Charles Xavier and Magneto, mutants are American.
Yeah, or Canadian.
Or Canadian, yeah. But, like, especially with Magneto, if you didn't know that he was, like, if they didn't reference the Polish refugee stuff, you would never know.
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't really speak with an accent or anything like that.
Yeah.
You would almost assume he's American.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Fassbender in this had to switch up the way he talked as Magneto because Ian McKellen was in it with him.
That's true.
So, like, in the first class, he did his own thing.
Yep.
Here, he changed his voice a bit to sound more like McKellen.
He had to.
He had to.
And I thought, but that was smart, though, that they did that.
And it's really good, too, like the plane scene.
Yes.
Where he's freaking out and the plane's just caving in and stuff.
Yep.
Like, I was like, it sounds kind of McKellen-ish.
Yeah, exactly. That was. I liked that. I didn't like. You know what? I'll just go through all my.
Go through this.
So I didn't like that Mystique ends up becoming Stryker at the end of the movie, and then picking up Wolverine, and because immediately I was like, well, what happens now? And then they don't reference it ever again.
They don't, and that bugged me too, just because of where we see Wolverine in Apocalypse. If it was the real Stryker, we would have understood why he's where he's at in Apocalypse.
Exactly. It would make sense, because it makes no sense that Mystique, as Stryker, would then take him to the Weapon X program.
Yeah.
Right? Even though, if you watch the Origins, the way that they tell of the Weapon X program is different than how they talk about it in Apocalypse. Because in Apocalypse, they do it like it is in the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's constantly being brainwashed so that he can be their weapon. And then eventually, even though Jean helps him, but eventually he heals his brain.
Yeah.
His brain just resets itself because it's like, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah. So
we got to reset everything, heal, so you don't remember fuck all. That's it, right? Start from scratch, go from there, right? But yeah, so like, the worst part is it's never referenced again in either timeline. And this is where I was saying, like, part of the problem with Apocalypse, even though I really like it, Apocalypse is saying, like, yeah, we're trying to reference movies in a different timeline and make it seem like it isn't. But I guess you could say that because it's a different timeline, that's why they have it closer to the comic books for the Alkali Lake stuff.
Yeah.
I guess you could argue that. Like, I mean, I go, okay, yeah, I can see that. But it just felt like, and I love Apocalypse, but it felt like they were just trying to have their cake and eat it too by saying, no, I know we're distancing ourselves from the original trilogy, but we're still pretty close to Wolverine. Remember him? He's cool. But yeah, so that part, I didn't like that there was really no explanation of Kitty Pryde being able to phase people through time. It's just, she just does it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Grant Morrison did later stage... Second Mutations, that's what it was. And with Beast and with Emma Frost.
It's been enough time between Last Stand and this where maybe...
And you could argue that, but again, say it.
Yeah.
Just say it. By the way, I've been able to phase people through time. I don't know how I can do it either. I can just do it. Simple as that. I don't even need to know how she does it. She just figured out that she could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then even having Xavier just feel like we've been noticing, second stage mutations.
Yeah.
Like even when he bumps into any one of these other mutants, like Bobby, for instance, you could be like, have you experienced any second stage mutations or something to that effect? I don't need everything laid out, but at the same time, you can't just do stuff for the sake of doing it, right? But anyway, so I didn't like that, even though it was really cool. And it was cool to have her in it and have her have a part to be in this movie.
I think that was the thing, too. Like, I think a lot of it was Ellen Page coming back meant she had to have a role that meant something.
Yeah, exactly, and especially because
which is understandable.
Didn't cut her scenes.
Like...
At all.
At all.
but they cut entirely Rogue scenes.
Rogue was cut out completely.
Like, I remember when I heard that, and I was like, oh, wow, she came back too, and then, like, it's like, oh, yeah, all her scenes were cut. And I was like, then what the fuck was the point?
Yeah.
What was the point?
I'd be pretty annoyed.
And they cut it for time, and it's not like, because we did this.
It was 11 minutes.
11 minutes extra.
By doing the Rogue cut, it's only 11 minutes longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it.
Do the Rogue cut.
Yeah. So.
What else did I not like? I didn't like that the ending suggests a link to the original trilogy, but that was before we talked about it. And it makes sense because this is a cap on the original trilogy. And a part of it was that, like, because you had mentioned that, okay, but now we diverge. So one is an ending.
Yeah.
So the 2023 timeline happens as it should.
Mm-hmm.
But their sense of time travel is by creating a different timeline.
Yeah. And
then this timeline is where the new stories take place.
Yeah.
So now I'm
like,
okay, all right, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, because you're right, because we have 4 timelines. We got the Deadpool timeline, we got the Logan timeline.
Logan would be a continuation off the end of this.
That's right. This X-Men and Logan
the original
timeline.
Trilogy is in its own timeline now that would have ended the way this starts.
That's right. Then you've got, after this, you got the Apocalypse Dark Phoenix timeline.
Yeah.
And what was the 4th one again?
There's so there's the original, and then it branches off into the 2000 and the Apocalypse. So it's 1, 2, and then it goes.
Well, the original can't diverge at Apocalypse. It diverges at Days of Future Past.
Yeah, but I mean, it continues into Apocalypse. That's where that.
So First Class
one goes into
timeline diverges from Days of Future Past.
Right.
So that at one point it'll lead into the 2000 X-Men.
Yeah.
Then Logan.
Yeah. And
then the ending of 2023, that period there.
Right. And
then you're right, it dovetails into the Apocalypse Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
That's right.
So then 2000 would have continued in its own timeline, right? How did we do it? How did we do it in that episode that no one saw?
I don't remember how you did it.
Anyways, there's a shit ton of timelines.
Yeah.
But I get that as a comic fan. The regular viewer is just going to be really fucking confused.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Michelle was kind of like questioning things, right?
Yeah,
and I know
exactly.
Adrian did too. So.
And but luckily, like, it got to a point where I've said enough times where, like especially because you watch X-Men Last Stand,
yeah,
and then you watch X-Men Apocalypse,
yeah,
or you watch X-Men 2 and X-Men Apocalypse, and then you're just like, wait, so they met them before? And then she's like, oh yeah, that's right, different timelines. Then she goes, okay, all right. So it doesn't like mean she likes any of these movies any less,
yeah,
or any more. It's just that extra little bit of, oh right. So it's like, okay, so what else? Yeah, so at least we can confirm at least 3 different timelines. So now it's like, okay, all right, as long as you can go from there, right? What did I like? Again, the cast I thought was absolutely incredible.
Great cast.
Everybody's firing at all cylinders.
They brought everybody back from both series.
Nobody feels like they're just phoning it in because they no longer want to be in these movies, which becomes prevalent later on.
Mm-hmm.
Almost immediately, actually, after this movie. The costume, the future costumes, the characters, the ones that they used, like Blank and Bishop, even just the older versions of these characters, I thought looked amazing.
The costumes as a whole are really great.
Yeah, generally the costumes as a whole are really, really, really great.
I mean, cool. You got a little bit of blue and yellow Wolverine this time around.
Yeah, but you also got brown,
nice.
like the actual fucking costume.
Yeah.
You know, and again, like, just once I'd like to see him wear the mask, but I'm okay with him never wearing the mask.
Yeah.
Like, even in the new X-Men for Marvel and Disney or whatever, if he never wears the mask, I'll be okay with it.
He'll wear the mask, and then he'll not wear the mask for the rest of it.
But again, at this
point...
kind
of the thing, right? Like Captain America...
I think at this... But again, like with Cap and Iron Man...
Like Thor, he wore the helmet. Like,
well, Thor wearing the helmet for like the first scene and then never again actually still makes me mad because it looked really good.
It looked great.
Like, instead of looking goofy, it looked cool. It also helped make him look like a fucking warrior badass that he should have. And especially because it's all open. Like, they include a version of it in Ragnarok.
During the battle with
during
Hulk
the battle
in
scene,
the arena,
because it's all open faced, he could be wearing it and never ever have to worry about taking it off to emote. Because I understand that's why they do a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like Iron Man and Spider-Man, demasking for emotion scenes are fine. I get that. I understand that. Because in comic books, you can emote with like different eyes and stuff like that. Cap, same thing, because it's a helmet, which I love that they made it a helmet. I love that they made it a helmet. It makes sense that there would be times where he's taking it off because he's just like, fuck, man, like I just got to get out of this thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it also helps him emote, right? But like, what was it? Civil War, that end sequence, he never takes it off until after. I don't think he takes it off at all, in fact.
No.
He keeps it on, and yet you still feel the emotion.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, so I actually feel like if they're going to do that, then don't make him wear the helmet, you know? Or the mask, whatever, however you want to do it. And again, because a lot of the characters we're talking about aren't concerned, they don't need to be concerned with the secret identity.
Yeah.
Spider-Man bugs me because, well, he's still a kid. It's still a part of his identity that he's trying to hide it.
Yeah.
So then when he strolls into a compound with S.H.I.E.L.D. agents without his mask on, I'm like, I feel like he should be keeping it on, and I feel like it's sloppy that Fury would be like, no, it's cool. Everybody knows who you are. It's totally cool.
Take it off.
But they all work for me.
Yeah.
And nobody ever
Everyone here is
S.H.I.E.L.D.
trustworthy.
Nobody has ever infiltrated
This Quentin
S.H.I.E.L.D.
guy that I met 24 hours ago, totally trustworthy. Show me your identity.
Yeah.
Do it.
Although I think it's kind of funny, though. He gets so mad at Peter for giving him the glasses, but it's like, you trusted him too, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You trusted him too with my identity.
Yeah. So
between that and the fact that I thought he was cool, I gave him the glasses. Thought it was a great idea. But, okay, before we get... Quicksilver jailbreak scene.
Oh, so good. So good.
Absolute highlight of the movie for me.
Yeah.
Because it's so
the way it's shot,
incredible.
it's just entertaining. It's funny as hell. Just the way he's setting stuff
and
up.
It makes perfect sense. Like I said in the previously recorded video, it was one of those things where I've always kind of wanted to see that because I always pictured like a superhero battle scene between, say, Superman and Zod, where humans are looking at it and all they see are blue and black streaks in the air, and they're feeling the ramifications, but they're barely making anything out because these guys are super fast. And then when you cut to them, they're fighting in real speed, but everything else is almost frozen in slow-mo because they're fighting so fast that you'd be like, holy fuck. So like when I saw stuff like this in this scene in particular, I was like, that's how we're going to see like super fast scenes moving forward. The Flash TV show is very much into that, where they do a lot of like, they do it where he's also moving a bit slower so you can see it better. Yeah. But they do show you aspects where it's all fast and everyone else is moving so slow. And you're like, yeah, it makes perfect sense that that's how it would happen. So that was incredible, incredibly choreographed, smart all the way through. Like, it's just so good. I can't say enough about it. Especially, like, I mentioned the cast, but this guy, who they got for Quicksilver? Peter, sorry. Yep. He was so good. I also love this scene where, like you mentioned it, they touch upon the fact that he's moving these guys by their neck. So that there's
they won't get whiplash. And then their faces are all blowing. Yeah. Like Magneto looked like he was going to vomit when Quicksilver stopped.
Exactly. But I also love him slowly piecing together that Magneto's his dad.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great, you know? Overall, so as much as the potential headaches around this movie, this is an excellent return to form. Like, this was me going like, okay, all right. My only thing... Actually, no. In this case, when Magneto does the flip-flop, it makes sense in character.
Yeah.
Because he's like, no, I'll work with you guys. And then go, no, now I'm going to take over. Because it works within his character. It's just a shame that they almost do a retread every single time after this. Where I get really tired of that. But that's it. That's what I got.
That's it? That's it. Yeah, no, the entire new cast members are great.
Oh, yes.
So we got Bishop, Blink, Warpath, Sunspot. They're all in there.
Yep.
Looking awesome.
Absolutely awesome.
Like,
absolutely awesome.
We don't really know anything about them because they're not in it for long.
Nope.
But they look like the characters.
That's the kind of fan service that's genius, because I go, man, I love Blink. Like, Blink's one of my favorite characters from Age of Apocalypse. Also, if you haven't heard, one of my favorite X-Men storylines ever. And Bishop was always one of my favorites, partly because of the animated show, and partly because of the stuff he did with the early Jim Lee run and stuff like that. Like, visually, he looked really cool. That militant, old school blue and yellow type thing, where you're just like, oh, that's calling attention to the previous
red
stuff.
Scarf.
And then, like, the M for mutant, where you're just like, this is a dark timeline, right? But even later, when they make him a bad guy, and he's the one that's trying to kill Hope Summers, and that whole, like, 13-issue run, their first initial run of Cable, is cat and mouse. They're jumping through time, and Bishop is trying to stop Cable and ultimately kill Hope, and it's just like, this is incredible stuff. And I think he's a good guy again now.
He is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how he became a good guy again.
Yeah, I can't remember how either, but I remember just being like, how do you bounce back from trying to kill a kid? And especially because, like, she's alive, so wouldn't she just be like, oh yeah, you're the fucking asshole that tried to kill me? And he's just like, don't worry about it. It's okay, I'm cool now. Hey.
He started in his own 12-issue series too in early 2000s for Marvel Knights called District X, and that was friggin' really good.
Yeah.
Like a neighborhood, New York, I guess.
It was the final 187 mutants that were still alive.
After House of M,
Yeah, all living in this district.
One area, and he was the cop.
The sheriff, so to speak.
Yeah, he went around solving all these mutant-on-mutant crimes, human-on-mutant.
That was a run I wanted to check out because the premise is just so cool.
Very cool. That was a really good story. But yeah, it was cool seeing him. They all looked great. Yeah. Like, oh man, looks so good.
Oh yeah.
And they worked as a team. Like, this is the first time I felt like I was watching an X-Men movie.
Yes.
Like they all feel like X-Men movies, and you see a little bit of teamwork. But
that's right.
This, like, the entire opening 15 minutes, is just teamwork against the Sentinels.
Exactly. But even still, like, you have the back and forth teamwork between 2023, 1963. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, wow. Even though the ages start to get crazy if you really think about it. A lot of the stuff I realized, like, even after we've talked about this previously, was that a lot of this is the really good movies is as long as you don't think about them too much.
Yeah.
You know, like, I start piecing them and tearing them apart, and then I start to go, okay, all right. So it's like...
So you put the ages together, like Magneto and Professor X in 2023 are like in their 80s.
Yeah.
They're
exactly.
Old.
They're fucking old.
They're fucking old.
You know, but it's like, again, you just kind of have to go, like, okay, so don't think about it. Just enjoy it on their own merits.
Yeah.
I will admit it gets harder for me when I get to Dark Phoenix. It's really hard for me to enjoy that movie on its own merits. We'll touch upon that when we get to that. So I have nothing else to add.
What else? John Ottman returns to do music.
Yep.
He did X2 with Bryan Singer.
Yep.
So that was great because it really made it feel like old school X-Men again.
Exactly.
Just the music alone, you get that
You get that
awesome Professor X talking at the beginning, and the crazy CG sequence, and then the title, and then the X door closing.
Yeah.
Like, that's X-Men. Like, when I see that, that's the same as the James Bond thing. You know, James Bond does his little thing.
It feels like...
When I see that, okay, here we are, X-Men.
It depends with the James Bond stuff, because I liked that you didn't have that until the end of Casino Royale.
Okay, yeah, because but they didn't have it at the beginning of First Class either. They had the coin flipping because there was no Cerebro yet.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It all works.
Which I liked. What else? Yeah, so this continues right off the end of the Wolverine.
That's right.
So we don't really get an explanation of how the Animanium came back to his claws.
No, you don't get that at all. But
whatever. Okay. It was just something I overlooked.
I dug that he had the bone claws in this.
Right away I saw it and I was just like, But the bone claws being back in the 70s.
In the 70s, cool. I like that he had the bone claws there.
He's just like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got these again.
That's right.
Yeah.
But they also don't ever... It kind of would be nice to see if he broke his claws at least once. Because I remember that was a thing, like in the comic books, where he would occasionally break the bone claws.
Yeah, well, Sabretooth snapped in Origins.
in Origins.
But yeah, no,
But again, like I said, if you watched The Wolverine and saw that Stinger scene and you were like, whoa! And then you watch this and you're like, whoa! Then you immediately go, how'd you get more adamantium for the remaining claws that no longer had adamantium? I don't understand. Maybe I shouldn't think about it.
I don't know. I was like, maybe he popped the bone and Magneto recovered the bone.
Like, I mean, okay.
Know.
I guess adamantium you can have in abundance in 2023 because the Sentinels are made from adamantium. So maybe when they destroyed adamantium, Sentinel, they went, hey, Magneto, what about the... And he went, way ahead of you, Wolvie. Yeah. Way ahead of you.
Way ahead.
We're just boiling it up now. Remember how painful it was? He's like, no, I don't, because I don't remember much of that life. Oh, that's right. That's right. Anyway... So are we at Apocalypse?
That's all I got. Rogue cut, though. You want to see Rogue? Really good cut.
Oh, yeah.
It totally changes, like, the last 3/4 of the movie.
Let's actually, I want you to talk about it,
In the future. Because in this cut, Wolverine, when he's flailing around there during the... What were they in? Like a Congress meeting or something? They were like in
this, Senate meeting or...
Senate meeting or something. And then we see that part where Wolverine kind of like, he's fading in and out between...
Well, because this is that crucial part where they're trying to stop Mystique from killing the Senator.
Exactly.
Which ultimately gives Trask the weapon, or the ability to go, no, let's do the Sentinels. Yeah. Which leads to 2023. Yeah. But then, because now Wolverine is almost like fighting with this...
Yeah, because he sees Stryker... And now his memories are flipping.
Yeah, so he's going back and forth, which I thought was actually really cool. Yeah. And then it also gives that whole thing where, so they actually can't change the future. They can create a different timeline, but they can't change their future, which I thought, like now when we talk about it, I'm like, that's actually really cool because now they're kind of going like, okay, all right, so we're finished. Our timeline is done, but we can at least create another timeline. So what happens is, so instead of killing the Senator, mutants get outed on public TV, like on national TV, because Mystique's like thrown out a window. Yeah. And in broad daylight, you got this blue redheaded chick now, like looking like no one's ever seen before.
And the way they shot that, like old
on
TV
cameras,
footage,
like actual like TV footage.
I thought that was really cool.
That was a great idea.
Really,
really
genius,
cool. Actually, because it's just like everyone's iPhones now.
And it's kind of creepy though. Like I imagine watching that at home in the 70s. And seeing that, and it'd be eerie, it'd be creepy. It's like the scene in Signs.
Yes.
Where Joaquin Phoenix is walking and the alien goes by. Oh, geez. Yeah. Like, and just think about that. I got goosebumps.
Exactly. Or like just those random scenes where like everyone's like by the field or whatever, then they just kind of look, the alien's just standing there. Like, what the fuck? Or even like that old school Bigfoot footage. Yeah. Where he's just strolling along. Yeah. You're just like...
You see that and you're like, it's probably a guy in a suit, but there's just something really eerie.
There's something gritty about it that you're like, but it might be real.
It might be real.
And it just is creepy enough, right? So yeah, like that's really cool. So plus there's that really awesome Magneto Beast fight scene.
That's such a good fight.
Because Beast is killing him. He's absolutely killing him.
Oh yeah, he's drowning him. Like he knocks his head, there's blood in the water.
Yeah, he's killing him, but as he's doing it, like the fucking steel rods are coming around. Yeah. I was like, that is great. And then they grab him off. I was like, whew, that's so fucking cool. So anyway, so now Wolverine is fighting this.
He's fighting it. He's flipping back and forth. So now in the future, his claws are popped. He's flailing around. He stabs Kitty. Ugh. He stabs Kitty, and Kitty's like holding on to him, but she's bleeding out. She's in pain. She's screaming, and they don't know what they're going to do because if they let go of him, everything's fucked. Yeah, like nothing's going to change.
Exactly.
So Professor X and Magneto go, well, we know we can get Rogue. It's going to be hard, but we can get her. They haven't got her yet because of how difficult it's going to be. Right. She's in the original X Mansion that's guarded by Sentinels, where they're experimenting. That visual
must have been amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it's
like, I'm going to go home and I'm going to watch it just because I have to, just to see it, just because, fuck, that would be crazy. Yeah. And then to see them, like, bust her out.
And Bobby goes with them.
Of course.
So Professor X stays back in the plane because he was flying the plane. Magneto and Bobby go in. They get her out. But as they're getting out, there's a Sentinel attack on them. Bobby says, get her out of here, go. And he's fighting the Sentinel. Bobby dies. Yeah. But they get out of there. Barely. A Sentinel's on the plane. And it's pretty awesome. You see Professor X doing some cool plane moves to try to get the Sentinel off. They get him off. And then Rogue goes back, takes over from Kitty. Says, hi, Logan. And she's holding him. And now Rogue is in the story. And I really, really like the road cut. Like, I was, for 11 minutes, why would you remove all
When
that?
you told me about the road cut, I was like, that sounds fucking incredible. And
Yeah.
for 11 minutes, why wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, like, it's an interesting little, like, break between what's going on there versus what's going on. Like,
Right.
It's a nice little, like...
Because up to that
Because you
point...
keep the tension.
Right, because in the
But
original
you switch
version...
it, right?
The original version, you don't really see much of the future once we go back.
Yeah.
Like, they do little snippets here and there.
Right.
But this like, put a good 10-minute story into the future storyline.
Ah, see, I wish they would have done that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I really like that.
So when you get a chance, watch the road cut instead.
Watch the road cut. Also funny is that they made JFK a mutant in this.
Sorry?
They made JFK a mutant.
Oh, JFK.
You remember?
JFK.
Like...
Oh, I forgot all about that. That's right. Yes. Yes.
Xavier thought Magneto killed him. He's like, I was trying to save him. He's one of us. He's a brother.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
So I'm done with Days of Future Past.
Okay.
But I love Days of Future Past.